To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
In 1966, Disneyland opened its newest themed area, New Orleans Square. Although it was heavily themed to 19th century New Orleans and offered many different shopping and dining experiences, there was one thing that it lacked. New Orleans Square, which at the time costed $15 million to build, didn't contain a single ride. A little under a year later, though, that would all change with the opening of one of Disney's most ambitious rides ever created to this day. What started as an idea for a walk-through wax museum eventually took the form of a boat ride through different scenes of the Caribbean islands under the attack of pirates. And although the pirates on opening day in 1967 were gruff, unpleasant, and crude, the crew that you'll find sacking Puerto Dorado today is a bit more well-behaved. This is the story of how, over the years, Disney made numerous changes to Pirates of the Caribbean at both Disneyland and Walt Disney World, and how, in a way, Disney censored Pirates of the Caribbean. The Pirates of the Caribbean ride that we all know and love today was a bit different back in the day. And by the day, I mean up until 2006. We'll get into that a little later though. After its completion in 1967, the ride would not be touched for another 6 years until '73. The very first official addition to the ride was Old Bill. You know, that really old, really drunken man trying to get that cat to try his rum. An iconic addition for sure that was brought over from Walt Disney World's version of Pirates. And I say that was the first official change because according to legend there are a few real bones among the skeletons in the first half of the ride that were traded out for fakes at some point. Well, I should say most of them were. The addition of Old Bill was the first change we would see in the classic attraction, but we all know it was far from the last. When Pirates first opened at the Magic Kingdom in Walt Disney World 2 years after the rest of the park, a small animatronic parrot would see guests off as they left the attraction. This green parrot animatronic, known as the Barker Parrot, was similar to Little Leota at Disneyland's Haunted Mansion. A small last effect that guests could pass by at their own pace as they exited.
And sometimes that pace would be excruciatingly slow.
Because of congestion problems the parrot caused at the exit for Pirates of the Caribbean, he was relocated to the entrance, greeting guests as they entered. In 2006, in addition to a ton of other changes that we'll get into a little later, the Barker Parrot was removed from the entrance and moved to the World of Disney store in downtown Disney, now known as Disney Springs. Don't go looking for the parrot these days though, because in 2012 he mysteriously disappeared from his perch and hasn't been seen since. Lost to history. I'm kidding. Of course, a few eagle-eyed fans have spotted him in the actual ride after a refurbishment update. Is this the original Barker Parrot? We don't know, but it certainly looks like him, and I'm hopeful that one day he will return to his proper place at the end of the queue. Probably not though. Someday. And while parrots are fun and Old Bill is definitely wasted, I guess, there were a series of drastic changes to the ride that began in the late 90s. In 1997, times they were a-changin', and Disney rushed to keep up with those changes. One of the first major alterations regarding the pirates inside the attraction was to a series of figurines on turntables in the city scene. When the ride first opened, you'd find pirates chasing women round and round, obviously with bad intent. Disney decided that it was time to do something, and for most of the turntables, the animatronics simply changed places. Now, instead of the pirates chasing the women were chasing the pirates, usually with some sort of weapon in hand to fend them off. Another change was in the same area that centered around a lone animatronic pirate. This boy right here, known as the Pooped Pirate at the time, recounted how tired he was after chasing a poor wench through the streets of the city. After making off with a piece of her outfit, he found himself a step to sit on and began telling his tale.
It's sore I be to hoist me colours on the likes of that shy little wench.
The very same woman he chased through the streets hides in a barrel just behind him. The first change, and there were multiple, altered the Pooped Pirate's story from chasing an unfortunate woman to looking for his next meal. The Pooped Pirate became the Gluttonous Pirate, and the woman in the barrel behind him was replaced with a little tiny cat. He's really cute. But don't worry everyone, I know what you're thinking. Yes, Old Bill was still there. While the changes were either praised or scorned by guests, some of those who worked on the attraction didn't share the same sentiment. Ex Atencio, who wrote the music and dialogue for the ride, famously referred to it as the Boy Scouts of the Caribbean due to the changes. And then came 2006, either one of the best years or one of the worst years for the New Orleans Square attractions, depending on who you asked. The Haunted Mansion got updates in the form of Constance Hatchaway replacing the Black Widow bride in the attic, and some general lighting and show scenes sprucing up. For the most part, it remained unchanged, but the same can't be said for Pirates of the Caribbean. It had a bit more coming its way. You see, in 2003, Disney released Pirates of the Caribbean: The Curse of the Black Pearl, a Hollywood blockbuster starring Johnny Depp that was loosely based on the ride, and the film was a critical and financial success, immediately spawning a successful franchise. In order to capitalize on this success, Disney closed both Disneyland's and Magic Kingdom's versions for a large refurbishment. When the rides finally reopened, guests would notice a few changes when they finally made it through the cave scene. At the end of the long, dark tunnel that once warned of a curse, we would find that now Davy Jones's face appeared on a projected waterfall, warning us that dead men do indeed tell no tales. This would be the first of many film tie-ins added to the ride. Immediately after the waterfall effect, we would enter the ship battle scene, where the captain of the Wicked Wench pirate ship once stood, now stood Captain Barbossa, played by Jeffrey Rush. Barbossa had similar lines to the previous pirate captain, but he also emphasized that they were in search of Captain Jack Sparrow and, of course, the cursed treasure. Speaking of Captain Jack Sparrow, once you enter Puerto Dorado proper and past the scene of the pirates dunking poor Carlos in the well, you'll pass by another 2006 edition. You see, 3 brand new Jack Sparrow animatronics were made for this update, the first of which would be seen here hiding behind some dresses, because obviously all the pirates invading this one poor town are looking for him. Then you would pass by a scene of different pirates auctioning off women for brides, with many of the pirates sitting around not wanting to bid on the woman who is currently for sale and instead wanting to buy the redhead who was up next. There was no change here though, not yet. When we're talking about poor Carlos, though, being dunked over and over in the well, let's talk about the woman calling to him from the window. We're just gonna call her Carlos's wife for this example. When she calls out to Carlos from the windows, telling him to not be cheekin', a pirate takes aim and shoots at the window, and today you hear the bullet ricochet off the window and her scared scream as she goes back inside. Back on opening day though, the scene was quite a bit more intense. Before the 2006 movie update, the ricochet sound wasn't heard after the pirate shot at Carlos's wife, and her yell was much more of a scream. And instead of hastily closing the shutters the way she does today, she seemed to launch backwards at a much faster speed, all of this implying, of course, that she had been shot by the pirate. Meanwhile, back at Johnny Depp Land, you'd see Jack for a second time when you came face to face with the gluttonous pirate. But now, instead of food, his mind is on the treasure map and key he holds in his hand. The cat in the barrel behind him was switched out for the second Johnny Depp animatronic, hiding inside the barrel the scared woman did all those years ago. During this time, a few ethnicity changes were made to the ride to make the crew of pirates and villagers a bit more diverse also. Most of the ride stayed the same until the final room. In the Explosivo room, a pirate that once balanced on top of barrels while firing off his flintlock was moved to behind the pooped pirate, where he remains to this day. Or the gluttonous pirate? Or the key pirate? What do we call him? Going up the waterfall now, the old scene of 2 pirates trying to carry a chest of treasure up the rapids was replaced by what some consider to be the final set in the ride. Some people, mind you, not me. For me, that's when you get to the top of the waterfall and look at all the tired guests walking into the queue. That is the very last scene in the attraction. Jack Sparrow has now taken over that spot, singing "Yo ho, a pirate's life for me" to himself, all while planning on what to do with all the treasure he found. This scene also contains one of the many Haunted Mansion chairs you can find at the Disney parks. Oh, you don't know about the Haunted Mansion chairs? You see, the chairs allegedly used in the 2003 film starring Eddie Murphy can be found in the last Jack Sparrow scene at both Disneyland and the Magic Kingdom, and the attic scenes at both coasts. Now, I may be missing a pretty big change. What was it? Something about an auction? Chickens? Oh yeah, that's right. In 2017, Disney announced that the bride auction scene would now be changed to a general item auction. Instead of human beings to buy, pirates could choose a marble bust, a grandfather clock, or a super fancy looking painting. The auctioneer's lines were changed and a female pirate named Red was added in place of the original Redhead. Now, as many of us know, this change was extremely controversial when it was announced, and in 2008, the following year, when the ride reopened. At Disneyland, the auction change accompanied a small transition scene between the caves and the ship battle, with an illusion of a skeletal pirate reanimating before your eyes, and the addition of the best character in the entire ride, probably, the octopus. I mean, seriously, just look at him. Look how cute he is. While you're a fan of this new change or not is completely subjective. While I myself love both scenes, I think the addition of Red injected some much needed energy into the auction scene. So building on that, before I go, I wanted to ask all of you guys, what do you think of all these changes made over the years to Walt Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean, and what's your favorite or least favorite alteration? Again, mine is the octopus, just throwing that out there. He's the greatest. Hello everybody, thank you so much for watching this video on the Pirates of the Caribbean changes that took place over the years. A big thank you to my friend LMG Vids and Film Spaced for the 1967 version of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. It was sort of a compilation he made of all the different clips of the original Pirates of the Caribbean, so it's super cool. I'm linking both of them in the description if you want to check them out. Highly recommend it. And the names that you see scrolling through your screen right now are actually the names of my Patreon patrons. There's also going to be a link to that in the description. If you're interested in getting early access to episode audio, some polls, sometimes I'll answer your messages if I ever get around to it. I'm sorry, I'm really bad at that. Consider jumping on over there and donating even just $1 and you get access to all of these perks. If you donate $200, you'll get a free Disneyland tour, but not too many people have done that one so far. I hope the comment section for this video doesn't get too heated because I know the changes to this ride can get a few people on different sides of the political spectrum a little worked up, so let's try to keep it as civil as we possibly can and just discuss the changes instead of arguing about them. But I trust you guys. I know you guys are nice and mature. I don't know why I'm bothering. You guys are always really nice in the comments. So, as I always say, everybody, thank you so much for watching. This video took a little while longer because it's a bit more planned out, a bit more scripted than usual. Let me know if you liked that. I will see you guys in the next video, maybe Haunted Mansion related. Goodbye.